Hello, good afternoon. It's Wednesday, Grief Talk. My name is Jennifer Tom.
And I'm Darlene Rample.
And oh my goodness, we've got our coffee today because it's a little cold and
The room's a little chilly.
yeah, we're here having coffee. If you're out there and you want to invite your friends, have lunch with us because today we are excited to share about amazing resources that are coming up. And I'm just so excited. So, who is out there? Invite your friend. Let's have lunch together. Oops. So, we are going to talk about, we were actually just talking about when we started this. And Darlene reminded me it was 2020. Let's reflect. It's so important to reflect where we've come from and where we're going. Darlene, do you want to share?
Yeah, so it was actually around this time of the year, or maybe a little later, but we had started about May. I still remember Jennifer phoning me and saying, we need to do something. And so I'm like, okay. But we started with a dream and just an idea, and we worked on our website. We worked on our a course, an online course. I remember spending a lot of time doing that.
Yes.
And then we decided to write a book. No, I think that was the very beginning. And so we started writing, formatting a book. We got an editor.
Yes.
And we actually published. We actually got our book done January 2021.
Yeah.
Right? Flowers aren't enough. Lessons learned from life and loss. And so, yeah, it's been a journey. So we've done the book, we've done Grief Talk Café. So we started doing our live Grief Talk Café. And we then got certified for grief recovery method. So that's been an exciting journey. And now we are doing groups. So we're so excited to be able to start a group starting April 6th. We want to do a grief recovery method group. So we're excited about that. I've been doing some one-on-one. I've been doing EAL too. And what else have we been doing?
I just love it. Keep sharing, darling. We've done a lot.
We feel like we've done a lot. So, but we're so excited about the people that have been helped, the people that have been touched. And I think one of the most important things I've found as talking with people is there's so many people who just need to be heard. And I like the grief recovery method saying that grievers are not broken. They don't need to be fixed. They need to be heard. And so again, our heart is always that we will be a safe place, whether we're Grief Talk Cafe or a group or one-on-one or out with the horses, that it will be a safe place where people feel that they have been heard.
I love it. I love it. And thank you for sharing that, because I just heard from a podcast I was listening to, and they said, if we need to reflect where we've come from and reflect where we are at and where we are going. And that's the idea. And Darlene, it's become our life mission. When we met over coffee and we shared about our grief, and we realized that there was some connection. We had that connection in regards to the stories we shared. The stories, when we share stories, they heal. When you share stories, I believe you find purpose. When you share stories, you find your mission. So our mission for us, for Stronger Life Connection, is to be here for you, our friends, to talk about this topic called grief. And really, when we talk about grief, we've said it so many times, we don't mean just loss of a loved one. We mean divorce, health, COVID. And now, due to public demand, like we have had inquiries, is how do we help our children with grief? So we are just so excited because we have two programs going, and we have the grief recovery method and also a program for adults to help children with grief.
This is so important because as we've been sharing, grief and loss happens. It starts in childhood, and how we process grief in childhood and how we're listened to in childhood affects how we process loss and how we process loss all our lives, not just when we're children. Yeah.
Exactly. And another thing that I'm so excited, I get too excited because it's like, oh, I'm so thankful, is that now that we can meet in person and in restaurants, we can go to restaurants, we are going to start Grief Talk Cafe in Brooks in person.
Yes.
And we'll be meeting at Ricky's, and more information coming. We need to choose a date where we'll just meet, talk about the grief talk, share life events. We all have a story. We just had a friend who just left and said, caring is sharing.
Yes.
Right? So it's not only about your story, but also listening to someone else.
Yeah, and creating a community where people are talking and sharing and healing together.
So stay tuned on what's coming. And I feel, and as we reflected where we've come from and where we're going, we have these resources, and now we're going to start Grief Talk Cafe in person, where we can have coffee, and we will be coming to different cities near you, and let's talk, let's share these stories, let's be there for each other, let's listen with a heart, with ears, and not our intellect, right?
Yes.
Darlene has taught me so much, because if there is somebody I've met who knows how to listen, it's Darlene. And I don't know, I'm vulnerable, I'll be honest. Many moons ago, I would listen, and my mind is preparing how I'm supposed to answer. So guess what? I was not listening. So when we talk about listening with a heart of yours, it's just leaving behind everything or trying to figure out the answer. I'm using all the words that I shouldn't be using today. Working on the answers and just listening to someone with a heart of yours. So guess what? We'll be meeting in person in Brooks, and our goal is next month. Once a month, we meet at a Grief Talk Cafe.
First Tuesday of the month.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll be sharing. So today we want to share about this program that's starting April 6th. We'll be using Grief Recovery Handbook. And I just want to read what it is. The biggest thing is seeing the problem. So it says, if you're reading this book, I love just the introduction, there is a high probability that your heart is broken. I love what they say, your heart is broken. That does not mean you are broken or I am broken. It means my heart is broken. It may have been caused by a death, either recent or long ago. It may have been caused by a divorce or a breakup of a romantic relationship. It may have been caused by any of the more than 40 other losses that a person can encounter during a lifetime. Did you know there's 40 other losses that we all encounter? How many of us can relate? Like there is so many losses. So in our lifetime, we will encounter that. Darlene, do you want to share some of other
kinds of losses?
Yes.
Yeah. A loss is any time that there's a change in a familiar behavior or pattern. So it can be moving to a new place. It can be, again, even when we talk about children, it can be having a sibling born. It can be losing a pet. It can be losing your health. We saw in COVID, it can be losing control of what was normally in your control and not being able to do the things that you used to do. It can be a new season in life when your children graduate from high school and move away, and or when you get grandkids. Any type of change, has loss attached to it, and it can be a good thing, right? When you get married, there's still losses attached. And grief is actually those conflicting feelings when loss or change happens. So there's probably more than we've even talked about there, but there is so many different times when we experience grief and loss.
I love that. And regardless of the cause of your broken heart, you know how you feel, and it probably isn't good. Thank you, friends, for the thumbs up. Thank you for tuning in. And please tell us, what are the losses that we are experiencing? Like, seriously, with this COVID and all this stuff, and we are all getting out, and you know what I'm talking about. It's not feeling good. However, we also feel good because we are able to connect now. We are able to connect in person. So, our program is not going to tell you how you feel. You already know, and we will not tell you we know how you feel, because we don't. Neither does anyone else. At best, we remember how we felt when our losses occurred. So I felt the need to share that, because those are the things we'll be talking about as we start this program. So if you know somebody or a friend or a family member who would like to join us starting April 6th at 6:30, we'll be meeting in person. Please invite them. It's gonna be powerful. And we'll be sharing and
and we'll share the link on our group where you can register, where you can get more information about the group and what it costs and all that kind of stuff. So
awesome. We are excited. And if you have any comments, thank you so much for having lunch with us. Today we came to show up and share that these resources are coming, and we are so excited about our community having Grief Talk Cafe live connection. We are excited. So thank you, Annette, for tuning in. Let's read what Annette said. I love this. I love this program that we can share. I was thrilled to get married. When we came home after a honeymoon, packed up at my parents' home and left for a new life in Colorado, I sobbed in the car. Major change was a type of loss.
Yes.
Annette, how true is that? Oh my goodness. Yes. Any change. And as you all know, I wasn't born here. And when I moved, I celebrated to move my home. However, after living here for so long, there are things that I grieve. I grieve about my family that we haven't had the connection. I grieve that my nieces and nephews, they don't know what an amazing auntie they have. All those losses. And, most times when you have someone you can share these stories with, these are the losses we're talking about. And we're excited to meet in person at Grief Talk Cafe, where we can share these events, these losses that happen, because as we've heard, there's more than 40 losses that we'll encounter during our lifetime. Thank you so much for having lunch with that and lunch with us. And Annette, thank you for sharing that. And all our other viewers, please connect with us. Till next Wednesday, check out our website.